Good morning. I want to welcome everyone to our second South Grenville Digital Main Street Skills webinar for the fall, Facebook Business Suite. South Grenville Digital Main Street is a partnership between Prescott, Augusta Township, and Edwardsburg Cardinal Township. Prescott is the lead partner, and my name is Justin St. Pierre. I am the Business Development Officer for the town of Prescott. Today, we will be having Nicole Hudson from Katarina's in Prescott join Elizabeth, our Digital Service Squad member, to talk about using Facebook Business Suite for your business and how it can help you improve your digital operations. Before we get to that, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew about the various digital Main Street programs that are currently available. If you are a brick and mortar business in Ontario, especially in South Grenville, you are eligible for the Digital Transformation Grant. This grant can provide up to $2,500 to assist you to improve your digital operations. This can be hardware, software, digital marketing, etc. So if you're interested in that, you can visit digitalmainstreet.ca or contact Elizabeth, whose contact information will be provided at the end of this presentation. The Shop Here program, which can allow home-based businesses or brick and mortar businesses to get a website for free, is also available. You can find that on digitalmainstreet.ca or contact either one of us to discuss that as well. Today we have Nicole Hudson, as I mentioned, from Katarina's joining us. Nicole is somewhat unique from our first round of Digital Main Street in that she took advantage of all three Digital Main Street programs, the Digital Transformation Grant, the Shop Here program, and the Future Proof program, which unfortunately no longer is being hosted by Digital Main Street. However, it has been somewhat replaced by a program by Launch Lab called the Digital Leads Generator program. So it is available through them at launchlab.ca. You can find more information about that. So without further ado, I will turn things over to Elizabeth Lawless, our Digital Main Street Coordinator, to lead us through today's presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a little welcome. As Justin mentioned, my name is Elizabeth. I'm the Digital Main Street Coordinator here in South Grenville. Just a quick overview of what we're going to cover today. So we're going to talk about how to get started with your business page if you don't have one already, benefits of using Facebook for business, how to create it, engagement, reviews, messenger, ads, of course, and we have our guest speaker, Nicole, and we'll also just do a brief overview of all the different tools within Facebook Business Suite, and then we'll have our question period at the end. So how to get started. First thing you need to do is have your contact information available. So phone number, email, the location, or the area you serve. You want to include general information about your business, kind of similar to your Instagram bio. You can also do a Facebook bio. So things you sell, when you started your business, kind of your interests, things like that. Similar again to Instagram, you'll have your profile picture. Some people like to use their logo for this. You can also use a photo of yourself with your products. You want to show what you do or what you sell on the very beginning of your page. The most important thing is a good username. This is kind of a newer feature. Usually you just had, like, our Facebook page is called South Grenville Digital Service Squad, but our username is South Grenville DSS. So that is how you can tag people on Facebook. So if you were to tag us, you would type that in rather than South Grenville Digital Service Squad. So it's very important to create a good username because you want to make sure your clients are able to tag you in the posts that they share about your business, because this will give you some more reach. Another thing you'd like to do is introduce yourself. People really like to get to know the face behind the brand. They want to feel like that personal connection. So this is a really great first post. Moving on to benefits. Like I mentioned, it helps you connect with your customers or your clients. It's also just a free online space for you to engage with your customers, advertise your brand. You can advertise on Facebook without necessarily promoting a post. Just sharing the products and services that you have or sell is a great way. You can also create events for free. This is another great thing. So if you want to do like a pop-up store, you're attending a market, things like that, you can make an event on Facebook. And it's also great for when you're just starting out and you don't have, the availability to make a website yet. Your Facebook page can kind of act as your landing page and a sort of like a free website for the time being. Engagement is incredibly important. This is how your page gets pushed into people's feeds. I'm sure you've seen on Facebook where it will say like so-and-so liked this post. That's a form of engagement. You really want to encourage comments and shares the most though, because that will get you a farther reach on Facebook. Reviews are another great way to encourage engagement. I think this is really important because it makes your business feel more credible or more real to clients that might not know about you yet. These ratings will show at the very top of your page. So it'll have like your name at the top, and then it will show how many stars people have rated you. You can hide these, but I would recommend not to do that because people like to read reviews before they purchase a product. I know I do that very often, so I think they're best to keep them on your page. This also works for recommendations. On Facebook, a lot of people will say, I'm in Prescott, I'm looking for blank, and people will recommend their favorite places. And this is kind of different than just tagging them. It shows up as a recommendation and it pushes your page into the comments so people can easily message you, which is a really, really great feature. But I think you should try to encourage reviews. This can be through like a promotion. So like 10% off your order if you leave us a review. Messenger. So in Facebook Business Suite, it is a combination of Facebook and Instagram within one platform. So you can actually access your messages for both social media platforms within Facebook Business Suite, and you can respond to both. You can also create automated replies. These are really great if you're not always checking your messages, so it shows that your message has been delivered. I see it. You'll get a response shortly. So the way to do this is through Facebook Business Suite, you go to Inbox and then to automated responses. The next slide will show you a visual of what to look for when you're trying to do this. So here we are, Inbox. You can see, well, this is where our conversations would be. And then automated responses here at the top. You can just click that button and put in whatever you like. Moving on to advertising. Ads Manager is located in the More Tools section on Facebook Business Suite, but you can also access it through Ad Center, then going to All Ads, and then you'll find the Ads Manager button. You can also access multiple accounts. So if you have multiple businesses, you can access all of them through the same page. It's just through the drop-down menu at the top. You want to select which page you want to make the ad for. There are also different roles in the advertising permissions. So these are different from your normal page roles. On Facebook, there are editor, admin. I think those are the only two, but these are completely different from those. You have to select these, and it's good for when you have multiple people working on your Facebook page and like doing your social media advertising for you. So if social media is something you outsource, you want to make sure that you're looking into these roles and making sure that that person has the right access. Here's just a quick overview of each of the roles. So the first one is the analyst. So they can only see ad performance. So how much reach it got, how much it spent, how many people clicked on the link. They cannot create ads or access your payment information. The advertiser can see and edit ads. They can create ads, but they also don't have access to payment information. So this would be, if you were to outsource your social media advertising, you would want to make sure that this person was under the advertiser role on your Facebook page. The admin is what you, the business owner, would want to be. You can access and edit the payment information. You can assign these roles of the analyst and the advertiser. And of course, you can access all the other features like creating ads and editing ads, seeing performance. Moving on to creating an ad. So there is a green button at the top and it just says create ad. You want to select that and you can design it. You can use a graphic you made yourself, put in the text you want. You want to choose your objectives. So do you want people to go to your website? Do you want to encourage people to send you a message? Do you want to encourage people to like your Facebook page, install an app that you're promoting? You can also do a boost post on whichever post in your feed that you want to push further. And it's just a blue button at the bottom of your post in the feed. Moving on to analytics, this can be incredibly intimidating, but Facebook has a good way of kind of digesting it through their filters. So here you can see some of the filters that they have. There are a lot more, but I put some of the more, what I think is the most important. So your performance, delivery, engagement, clicks, cross device. So this is like people moving from Facebook to your website, messages, things like that. So Facebook provides you with this data. You can download it into an Excel spreadsheet if you like. You can use the filters to customize it. So if you want an Excel sheet just on the performance of your ad, you filter it to performance, and then you click the download button. It also breaks down the data by 3 sections: delivery, action, and time. Moving on to insights. So this is, the next slide will show you what it looks like, but it's a graph at the top. There are 3 sections: performance, demographics, and placement. Performance shows how your ad performed according to the objective you chose. So if it was website clicks, it's going to show you how many website clicks you got from your ad. It'll talk about your reach, how many people saw it, and then the total money that you spent on it. Your demographics are your gender and age breakdown of your ad views. So this many men, this many women, these people were between 18 and 24. Those kind of things would fall under demographics. For placement, it shows how your ad performed on the 2 different platforms, so Facebook and Instagram, but it also shows different placements. So this is like how many people viewed it on a Facebook desktop, or how many people viewed it on Instagram's mobile app, so on their phone, stuff like that, which I think is quite interesting for your demographics. So this is what it looks like just for a visual. So you can see like your result, shows a graph, and then it has all of your content at the bottom there. Moving on to audience insights. This helps you learn about your customers or your target audience. You're going to learn their demographics, so age, gender. You're going to learn their locations. So if they're in Prescott, Rockville, Toronto, anywhere, and their behavior. So what times are they online, or what days are they online the most? Do they often purchase from Facebook? Do they shop online often? Things like that would fall under behavior. Power Editor is a great tool when you have a lot of ads on Facebook. You can create multiple ads all at once, and you can also edit them at the same time. So the way that you would access this is Facebook ads menu. You want to click create and manage, and then you'll see the Power Editor under there. So now we're going to introduce our guest speaker. Nicole is the owner of Katarina's here in Prescott. It is a coffee shop, family-run business. They have homemade desserts, pastries, lunches. They started in June of 2020, and she does the social media. So she does their Facebook, their Instagram, their website, all of that stuff. And she is going to tell us about how she uses Facebook to promote her business and Facebook Business Suite to manage her platforms. So I'll pass it over to Nicole.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So I'm Nicole, owner of Katarina's Coffee Shop. These are some features that Elizabeth highlighted it for us. So the first one I'll move into is the scheduling. And I use this feature to provide what schedule I want my post to go out. So you can actually put what date, what time, what post you want to put out. And it also syncs with Instagram, so you don't have to worry about if it posted on Facebook or Instagram. It will also show you what it looks like on a mobile or desktop, like Elizabeth mentioned. I'm also big on content calendars, so this gives you a great view of what different posts you would post for the whole month or even the whole week, depending on what you like. But as a small business owner, you don't have all the time in the world to take pictures and schedule posts. So this is a great feature for Facebook there. And moving on to analytics. Analytics and insights I use hand in hand. For analytics, I use this feature to study what engagement, how many clicks, website clicks, or how many messages I get from a certain post. Some posts may have more likes but less engagement, and some posts have more engagement than actually the reach of your post. And insights, I could see if my platform is doing better with female or male or what age group, and I can schedule my posts accordingly to speak to those specific followers. And I can also see what potential follower age group demographic I would like to tune into next time. And comments and messenger, I also use that hand in hand. It is one tab on the Facebook Business Suite app, and it also gives you who commented, who messaged you, and you can segregate it by if you have unread messages, or if you have a primary message, or if someone wants to send you an Instagram message that you have to accept. And it also gives you a little pop-up note if you haven't replied to someone, so you can make sure that you're staying on top of everyone's questions or comments, and you can use it to create posts too from their comments and messages through there. And next slide, please. So creating content. The first one is being consistent. For my business, we use about 2 to 3 times a week of posting. I mean, you can post more, but it depends on what you really want to put out there. I find I don't try to put too much of sales 3-4 times a week, because like people might get less interested in your post. So I just post 2 to 3 times a week, some announcements, and you kind of mix it up a bit, and you add a few story posts. So some of our stories, since we're a coffee shop, we talk about our drinks, we talk about our team, more behind the scenes of what we bake and desserts and stuff like that. And for inspiration, our employees, they all have different creations. So some of them are baristas, some of them are bakers, and we use that content to share what we do and behind the scenes of how we make our drinks, how we make our pastries. And we find a lot of engagement goes to that, and a lot of interactions on messages on Facebook and Instagram. And we also get inspiration from customer comments. So sometimes we would see a thread of comments like, you should show us this, or we wonder how this is made. So we'll share that as well. And we also just started making reels that we find get a lot of reach too. And graphics, so there's Canva, which is a very easy, it's free, or you can pay for a more premium, but I just use the free version for it. And you can have Facebook and Instagram. It resizes everything for you, so you don't have to worry if it's going to look good on a desktop or a mobile app. And you can also use templates from it, where it just shows you if you want to do a menu for us example, or if you want to make an announcement. Canva can filter it for you so that you can pick what type of template you'd like to use, and it's a bit easier for everyone. And for photo editing, I use Snapseed. There's multiple filters for Snapseed, and there's also last edit. So let's say you have a photo that you took and you edited it a certain way. If you go into Snapseed again, it will show you how you edited your last picture, so you can copy it so your feed on Instagram or Facebook are a bit more uniform than different colors or different moods. And you can also install your like your color palette, so it can also copy that too. Next slide, please. And for advertising, so analytics and insights are a big thing when I try to target for advertising. Sometimes I target for the towns near us, or we boost our promotions in like a certain town, or like, let's say Prescott, if we're doing a sale or if we're announcing something new. And you can also see the different age groups and what type of content you want to advertise to. And we analyze these through engagements and website clicks, or how many more people comment or message us through those posts. And here's just a collage of the different, so we have some pictures. You see that we're sharing our team. There's some reels on there as well that are fun. And we also use a lot of Facebook and Instagram for new announcements, hours, or just share like pretty much who our team is and what we do. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us. So you can find her Facebook and Instagram there on the screen, and her website is there below as well. And she will be here for our question period at the end if you have any questions for her. Moving on to inspiration and trends. So I find a really great way to get inspiration is just from the current trends going on. Whatever you see online that everybody seems to be doing, sometimes it's fun to hop on the trend. Of course, you want to be creative and start your own things, but that is a way to get really far on Facebook or Instagram, is through get higher engagement through those trends. You can also see what similar businesses are doing. This is a newer feature on Facebook Business Suite. You just go to post and stories on Business Suite, and then there's a button at the top that says post from similar businesses, just to get some ideas of what other people are doing online. So under the posts and stories tab, you will find all of your published content. You'll also see a breakdown of your engagement, the views of your posts, comments, likes, link clicks, all of those things. You can filter this by either just your Facebook posts or just your Instagram posts, and you can also filter by date. So if you wanted to do, let's say, a monthly review, you could filter it by like from October 1st to 31st and see all of your posts, all of your engagement and stuff like that. And you can download it as well, which is really nice. Moving on to scheduling, this is my personal favorite feature of Facebook Business Suite. Here on the side is your content calendar. Nicole mentioned this, so you can see all of your scheduled content for the entire month. You can also filter it to the week there at the top. You can flip back and forth. You can schedule posts for either Facebook and Instagram, have the same post go to both platforms, or you can just do, I want just this one on Instagram, and then I want this other post on Facebook. You can do that as well. You can also, this is a really interesting feature, you can customize the text and tags for each individual platform. So if you want to tag another business and their Instagram username is different from their Facebook one, there's a section where you'll see Facebook text. You can write your text in there, and you can flip it to Instagram text and write a completely different caption on that side, and it'll publish both of those separately. The next slide will show you what that looks like. So this is where we're seeing that. So customize your Facebook post. See how it's highlighted Facebook there. So you could type in whatever caption you like. And when you're done, you can flip to Instagram and type a different caption. If you want it to all be the same, you just write over here in the text portion. You can see you can add photo, add video, location, a link if you want to add your website link in there. So that is all we have today for Facebook Business Suite. I just wanted to mention that we are doing a Canva 101 webinar on December 8th at 11 a.m. There will be a Facebook post coming soon with a link to register for that. Just a little update on our webinar series. We have a winter webinar series coming up. You will see lots of promotion for this in the next month or so. And now we have our question period. I know I saw a few in the chat there. The first one was, you heard Facebook is getting away from star ratings as they want to encourage text. This is true. I'm not sure when they are updating this. They've been talking about it for a while, but for now you can do the star reviews, but this will be changing in the future, and it'll move farther away from a review and more towards a recommendation or a testimonial. So just text of your experience with the business. But if anybody has any questions, you can put them in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask them, please feel free.
We have one in the chat there. Elizabeth.
Is there? No, there is no cost to posting content, but if you want to push it as an advertisement, that is what you pay for. So when I was mentioning, like, when you want to boost a post, that would be something you would pay for, and you would set out a budget of how much money you want to spend and fill out all of the demographics and stuff like that. But if you just want to post any content to your page, it is completely free.
Elizabeth, do you recommend posting ads to Facebook and Instagram in tandem? Do you get a lot of benefit out of that feature? Or do you find sometimes it's more useful to keep those separate? I know from my perspective, again, like we're more town focused when it comes to our promotions, but I find sometimes they don't always display as intended if we're doing cross postings to both platforms. What's your experience?
I think it's kind of hard because they have different sizes. As Nicole mentioned, Canva uses the template for the sizing, so it can be thrown off depending on what you're posting. Personally, I find that your demographic is different on Facebook versus Instagram, so you want to make sure you're catering those ads to the people that are going to view them. So if you have more like 18 to 24 on Instagram, you want to make an ad that caters to them. And if you have a different demographic on Facebook, you want to make sure you're relating to them as well. So sometimes they can be very different, but it all depends on your business and your followers. But I would recommend taking a look into how your demographics differ on each platform before posting the same ad to the two separate ones. Another thing is, if they follow you on both, they're going to see it twice, which sometimes is good for recognition. But oftentimes I've seen the same ad like 5 or 6 times from places, and I just tend to lose interest in it. So it kind of depends, honestly, on what your demographic is.
That's a really good point there, because as you say, if you follow one platform, you would tend to follow the rest. So I think it would be, you know, as much as it takes that extra time to come up with different ads and post content, I think it's definitely worth it if businesses do have the time to go down that road.
Yes, absolutely.
And I just wanted to plug Katarina's for a great example of one of the posts, or, you know, kind of more storylines that they had posted recently, was a video of them preparing their fruitcakes, which I was just totally enthralled by. I must have watched that probably 3 or 4 times. And it's just, you know, that kind of content, it's really engaging, and it obviously is going to translate into sales for your business. But yeah, that was just a really great example of one of the posts that you were talking about, Nicole.
I wanted to add to your question, Dana. So I've been experimenting of posting in sync from Facebook and Instagram. And sometimes it does work that people do see it a bit more, but there are some things like in my demographic for Facebook, if I do a big announcement of the hours or something changing just in the shop, I find it gets more engagement, less on Instagram. But on Instagram, if it's more, let's say behind the scenes, more of our team doing different drinks and stuff like that, it gets a lot more engagement on Instagram compared to Facebook. But then again, on Instagram, we have a younger audience compared to Facebook as well. So it really depends on how your business is doing on both platforms, I would say, and see what generates a bit more engagement for both, because both are very good.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. I find with Facebook, you know, it tends to be more, it's almost like a mini or a micro website for your business. And I find a lot of people will tend to go to Facebook versus going to websites anymore. So maybe that's where that kind of difference can lie, that you can use the Instagram platform to really tell those more engaging stories depending on your demographic. And Facebook is really good for, those day-to-day kind of updates about your business and what's happening.
Mhm. And I think there's a question on here, Elizabeth.
Yes, I just saw in the chat, our boost posts worth it. It depends again on what your goals are. So if you want, like a very, very high reach, or you want a more, I don't want to say professional looking ad, but when you pay for the advertisement, you can do carousel ads. So that's kind of what, like you'll see them from stores that you typically shop from, and you can swipe through and see all the different products. That would be a carousel ad, a lot more expensive. But if your goal is to reach very far and it is to encourage e-commerce, I would say go for the ad over the boosted post. If you just want a more local engagement, you want more followers, people that are going to come to your business, I would say a boosted post is a really, really great option. And it's also quite a bit more affordable than an advertisement on Facebook. I'm not sure what your specific goals are, but if they fall under either of those, if it's more so just engagement and recognition, I would go for the boosted post. I would say it's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to add on to that too, because I wasn't sure myself before about boosting posts, but I tried it. And you can actually put how much you want to put for each day. So it really depends on what your goals are, as Elizabeth said. So some days you can put more money in or less money. And from my experience, it does really boost your engagements and even followers for Facebook and Instagram. Because we started from normals for like 4,000 engagement, it went up to about 17,000 in the span of a few days. And that's from like analytics too, where people are more commenting because they see your post and your boost. How much do you spend? I'd say then again, it depends on your own goals of how much you actually have a budget for your specific post, for, let's say, if it's an announcement or if you want to get more followers. How many days did you boost and how much? Some of them I boosted for only 4 days, but I also put a bit more money in those 4 days. So let's say instead of putting $10 for 7 days, I put maybe 15 for 4 days. And I find more days are good, but it's also less amount because you put less amount of money. But if you put a shorter day, but you're also putting a bit more money, it does generate a bigger engagement. It really depends on, nothing is like black and white. It depends on how Facebook will put up your ad. But it's really, you just have to try to do a low amount first and see how it goes and experiment. Yeah, as you said, you have to experiment of what your social platform really does, because nothing is all the same.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. You do have to experiment with the costs that you want to spend. But you can start as small as you want and see how it goes. I think $40 to $60 a week would be more than sufficient for a boosted post. And you can put it over 5 days, 7 days, however many you want. And you can still stay within that $40 to $60 budget. You kind of create it yourself, which is a nice, really nice feature.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because when you, let's say you put 50 as a budget, it depends on how good your post goes. And I think it, if I'm mistaken, but I think it only costs you if someone does click or someone does message, or how far your post actually goes. But you have a cap on, let's say 50 if you put it. Not for me. I'm not sure.
I've never experienced that either. The way they do it differently than your typical online advertising. So if you were to advertise on Google, you'd be paying per click. So you would have an estimate from them. but if you got a lot of clicks, it would shoot right up. Whereas with Facebook, you set a budget with them, and they kind of manage that for you. So if you're getting a ton of clicks right away, they may lessen it a bit so you do not go over budget near the end of your week if that's what you chose. I don't know if anybody else had an experience where they got overcharged with Facebook, but I think it's very, very, very unlikely. I've done quite a few boosted posts and I've never run into that problem. Does anybody else have any questions before we kind of wrap up? I will just move on to our last slide here. My contact information is on the screen there. My email is dms@prescott.ca, our website, and our social media tag. If you have any questions about Facebook Business Suite, Instagram, our digital Main Street programs, the grant program, and Shop Here, feel free to contact me anytime. And our next webinar is on December 8th at 11 for Canva 101, and we hope to see you there. Thanks so much for coming.